news, fight. You're now tuned into the TNH Sports Network, the number one place for unbiased boxing news, fight predictions, fight breakdowns, and film studies. Make sure to hit that like button and that subscribe button on the way out if you want to show love to the channel. Eventful weekend. Just a tad bit. There's a couple things we're gonna get into. My Wi-Fi giving me issues right now, but hopefully the stream is coming through clear. Let me go ahead and try to double check on my end, make sure everything coming good. But who saw the Richardson Hitchens versus Zependa fight? We're gonna go over that real quick, briefly. It was a blowout, if you ask me. 12-0 blowout. I heard a lot of talks that it was boring. Boring. What's boring about an ass whooping? I don't quite get it. Especially when you could box masterfully, man. You could box beautifully when you could hit and not get hit. I don't know. Some people find that style boring. I don't. Y'all like that rock'em sock'em bock'em shit. I don't. Like I said, one or two fights. I've been saying this on every video I bring it up. One or two fights, but 3-4 fights, all that rock'em sock'em bock'em stuff, man. I want to see some high level intelligence in there. I want to see somebody hitting and not getting hit. How do you evade danger while still being dangerous yourself? That right there is impressive to me more than anything. But shout out to Richardson Hitchens, 12-0 blowout. Zependa ain't won a round by my count. I don't know if he won a round by any judges, but blowout, straight blowout. How it should have been. Nice fight for Richardson. A lot of people don't like Richardson's style, and they call it boring because he don't have that tank power, because he don't bring that tank explosiveness, because he doesn't bring the explosiveness of certain other fighters. Like, his style is for the few. It's not for, history has shown us it's not for everybody, right? His style not for everybody. Everybody don't like it. The Brads and Chads might not like that style. They want to see excitement. They want to see somebody get their head knocked off their shoulders, right? Which I completely understand. So the casuals, which we need to build this fight, which we need to build this sport, which we need to build certain fights. They are excited by things like that, by knockouts, by somebody with some good power that whip a dude head back with a good jab, some hooks, some uppercuts, because they don't understand the intricacies, the complexities of this sport, and they're not really truly interested in learning that, right? So they want to see the big wow, the stuff that's easy to comprehend, easy to explain. Um, so that's why a lot of people don't really, or may call Richardson Hitchens fights boring. That's why some people might go ahead and call him that. But I don't think it's boring. I think it take a lot more skill to go in there and hit and not get hit. And especially when you don't have the tank power to knock a dude out, you got to use high level intelligence the whole night. 12-round fights are 3-minute rounds, so that's 36 minutes. That's an awful long time to remain on your P's and Q's and to remain solid, right? So when the guy do that and shows the ability to do that, you get extra points in my book, right? Because that's not easy to do. It take a high level boxing intelligence in order to do that. But that fight was a nice step up. When I like I said, and like a lot of people say, I would like for him to maybe turn it up on these dudes. The power not gonna just come. If he ain't have it before, it's not just gonna come. But he might be able to turn up on these dudes, get a little bit more aggressive, and get a couple TKOs. I was watching my guy Lukey Luke show, and it was somebody on his show. He was making a point. He was maybe making that point or a point similar. And I'm like, all right, I could see what you're saying. I could definitely see what you're saying. If he could just turn up and just hit these guys with more shots and really go in on them, he might get a couple TKOs. He might get a couple of these guys looking real bad, and the referee like, we need to go ahead and stop this. So maybe that's one element Richardson should add to his game. But he picking these dudes apart, man, and he doing it slowly and methodical. And like I said, that's beautiful boxing to me. But we got a couple more topics to talk about on that card. Mister Conor Benn himself made a comeback against Rodolfo Orzico, right? So this fight was a tough one. Um, for Connor himself. He's got his eyes split open. Um, or Zuko. It's hard for me to pronounce this dude's name, but he was a tough opponent. He was taking tough shots all night. He showed the chin. Even Connor said himself after the fight that he must have borrowed Canelo's chin because he definitely showed the chin, man. Showed toughness, showed grit. He's a big dude too, pretty big. I think he was like 6 foot something. He was bigger than Connor. Um, but but so we must talk about this. Does Connor look different to you guys after the allegations and before the allegations? Before the allegations, he was out here destroying shit. Um, he ain't destroyed dude last night. So does it look like Connor has a little less pop since the failed drug test, or does his pop and physique look the same to you? Now, to me, I think his physique looks the same, but this is a small bit of information to go about, right? Because there's only one fight, and it was a year break, so he had a year layoff in one fight since. But to me, the pop didn't look exactly the same. I would like to see two or three more fights to be able to gauge myself 100%. But just off that one fight, with it being a small bit of information and him coming off of a year layover, I think it was just over a year or just under a year, but about a year layoff. Um, I say his pop is not the same, but it could be multiple factors in that. I can't just say because it's the allegations, right? But also, so I said in my live that I did about Conor Benn before, I thought he was cleared. Now I heard recently that he actually wasn't cleared. So let's do a little bit of investigation on this. Is Conor Benn cleared to fight? See, Eddie Hearn been saying he's clear. Conor Benn himself has been saying he's clear, but somebody else been out there saying he's not been clear. I forget the organization because they're filing a. Let me not use these terms the wrong way. I don't like. I don't like. So, okay, I'm reading right now from Sky Sports that Conor Benn was cleared, and this is in July. This was back in the summer by UK anti-doping. That's UKAD and remains free to fight. Right, but I thought it was the British Boxing Commission or something like that. They had a beef with dude. Let's see. All right, Conor Benn is not cleared with the British Boxing Board of Control. So this is why he fought in Orlando. Coming down to the nitty gritty. Coming down to the nitty gritty. All right. So back in July, the British Boxing Board of Control is considering appeal, and I think they did go ahead and appeal, but this is back in July. Let's see any newest updates. British, excuse me, British boxing chief Robert Smith insists Conor Benn has not been cleared. Well, has not cleared his name and says he should not be fighting until a drug test appeal is resolved. So this is what I was saying. I was thinking it was up in the air. So Conor Benn has not been cleared by the British Boxing Commission to box, but he may be able to box in different parts of the world. All right, but he did return this Saturday in Orlando, Florida, and got a unanimous decision. Right, I believe it was a unanimous decision. But he went to 12. Twice tested positive for banned PED, and two separate VADA drug tests last year. This is from TalkSports.com. A ruling made by the National Anti-Doping Panel in Benn's UKAD case saw the boxer's suspension lifted in July, clearing the way for him to fight again. It has been reported that this decision to lift Benn's suspension was focused heavily on jurisdictional technicalities, specifically UKAD's inability to rule on vital testing. So a lot of technicalities coming into play as to why Conor Benn was able to fight this weekend and why specifically he fought in America and Orlando, Florida. Excuse me. All right. Last month, UKAD and the BBB that's a weird name, British Boxing Board of Control, appealed the NADP ruling. It's all these goddamn acronyms. And this had no clear resolution yet. So it's still kind of up in the air. However, he's no longer suspended. Ben has obtained a Texas boxing license and is using it to return in Florida on Sunday night. All right, so he got a Texas boxing license that must have been accepted by Florida, and that's how he went ahead and fought Florida. But I don't think we're going to see Conor Benn fighting in the UK or Great Britain area anytime soon until they resolve this issue, because they appealing the decision. They saying the excuse, we not having it, or you're going to at least have to come with some better results, right? But it's not a lot of information on the specific case, like A test, B sample test, which one did he fail, blah blah blah. These news articles, they putting a whole lot of crap into it instead of just putting it out there. Look, he failed the A sample, B sample, whatever the case may be. But Conor Benn ain't too big of a news, so I ain't want to go in on Conor Benn too much, man. That ain't huge news. Nobody really care about Conor Benn too much in America. But in other news, there has been some new news on a fight that was supposed to happen that didn't happen, right? So Frank called into the Queens of the Ring YouTube channel, right? I want y'all to go ahead and check out that YouTube channel over there, right? He called in and explained his side, and he said essentially it was the money, right? So I ain't no duck, it was the money. And I don't get mad at no fighter, right, for not fighting for X amount of money, whatever that X amount of money may be, because I'm not the one going in there taking the punches in the head for a living. So you set your price, I respect your price. I'm not mad at that. If it was for another reason, or let's say maybe the money wasn't an option or wasn't the reason, then yeah, we could go ahead and maybe say duck this, duck that, duck this, duck that, right? But if it's about the money, I can't get mad at you, baby boy. I can't get mad at all. That is what that is. You don't want to fight for a certain amount of money. You see the pot, you say the pot is bigger and I should get more. They don't want to give you more. The fight don't come about. That is what that is. That's on the negotiation side. So I wouldn't say Frank is ducking. This is what I do say happened. They called Frank up, said we got a mill for you. Frank agreed to the mill and all the other terms verbally. All right. And he's gonna say this in a little small clip I'm gonna show y'all. But I want y'all to go watch the full interview so y'all can see his full response, right? So he accepted verbally, then he got to knowing the numbers. I'm pretty sure he figured out what Shakur was making. Once he figured out what Shakur was making compared to what he was making, he ain't like the disparity difference. And he said, I want more. Top rank. They was already not trying to give him the mill. So they shut it down after that. Said the mill or nothing, I assume. Frank said, I want more than the mill. And that's what it was. But I'm going to play y'all a short clip so you can hear verbally what Frank's explanation was. We can have a little bit more conversation on this topic. But I want y'all to go to Queens of the Ring and watch that full interview. If you haven't by now, I know a lot of us have watched it by now because I saw a lot of talk on Twitter about it. But let's hear what Frank got to say. All right.
So, but on
Pardon me.
my end,
My
verbally, I
Wi-Fi, y'all been
agree.
going through it for a couple of
Got a
days, so the
call,
video
asked me what I thought about the fight. It's for the WBC and all that. I agree
on
to it.
my end
I'm like, it's
verbally,
a
I
it's a
agree.
green light. You know what I mean? So after that, me agreeing to it, I ain't never know what the money was. I ain't know none of
Come
that.
on, come on,
So
Wi-Fi.
what happened was
It's trying to be
once
giving me some
everything
issues
came
for the
about, I figured
past
out
few
what that
days. I
money
had to
was,
play
and I wasn't
Verizon
cool with
Tech,
it.
but
You know
I
what I mean?
mean,
I wanted
it's
more.
all good,
So
baby.
that's why the
It's
fight
all
didn't fall
good. Let's
through,
try
because it
this
was
again.
so. But on my end, verbally, I agreed. Got a call, asked me what I thought about the fight. It's for the WBC and all that. I agreed to it. I'm like,
Might have to
it's a
just send
green
y'all
light.
over
You
there,
know what I
baby.
mean? So after that, me agreeing to it, I ain't never know what the money was. I ain't
Might
know
just
none of
have to
that.
send y'all over
So
there.
what happened was so, but on my end, verbally, I agreed. Got a
All
call,
right.
asked me what I thought
So what
about the
we could
fight.
do is,
It's for the WBC and all that. I agreed to it. I'm like, it's
let's
a
get this
green light.
going. Is we
You know
could
what I
pull the
mean?
video up.
So
That ain't
after
no
that,
thing.
me agreeing to it, I ain't never know what the money was. I ain't know none of that. So what happened
So I
was
want y'all to do
once
little
everything
cleans
came
of the
about,
ring.
I figured out what that money was, and I wasn't cool with it. You know what I mean? I wanted
All right.
more. So that's why the fight
They
didn't
just
fall
dropped the
through. Cause it
video
was
of
so. But
Frankie
on my end,
Frank.
verbally, I agreed. Got a call, asked me what I thought about the fight. It's for the WBC and all that. I agreed
Get a
to it.
short
I'm like,
clip
it's a
of
it's a
it.
green light. You know what I mean? So after that, me agreeing to it, I ain't
Dang,
never know what the
Wi-Fi.
money
Why you
was.
doing me
I ain't
like
know
this,
none of that.
baby?
So what happened was once everything came about, I figured out what that money was, and I wasn't cool with it. You know what I mean? I wanted more. So that's why the fight didn't fall through, because it was so. But on my end, verbally, I agreed.
All right,
Got a call, asked me what I thought about the
we
fight.
ain't gonna
It's
stress
for
the
the
baby too
WBC and
much,
all
right?
that. I agreed to it. I'm
Although
like,
let's say I got
it's a
all the
green
bars
light.
here, all
You
the
know what I
bars
mean?
there. I don't know
So
what the
after
big
that,
deal
me
is,
agreeing
but
to it, I ain't never know what the money was. I ain't know none of that.
Frank, like I said,
So
Frank
what
said
happened was once everything came about,
the
I
money
figured out
wasn't
what that
right.
money was, and I
He said
wasn't
I
cool
agreed
with
to
it. You know
everything
what I mean? I
verbally.
wanted more. So that's
Then
why the
I
fight
got to
didn't
know
fall
what the
through, because
numbers
it was
was.
so. But on
I
my
said I
end,
wanted
verbally,
more.
I agreed.
They ain't want to
Got a
do it.
call, asked me
Fight
what I thought
off.
about the fight.
Simple as that.
It's for
So
the
the fight
WBC
didn't
and all that.
happen
I
because
agreed to it.
Frank
I'm like,
wanted
it's a
more
green
money.
light.
They
You know
wasn't
what I
willing to
mean?
offer Frank
So
more
after
money.
that, me agreeing to it, I
Same
ain't never
deal
know
with
what the money
Shakur,
was.
right?
I ain't know
So
none of that.
if we gonna
So
call
what
Frank,
happened was once everything came about, I figured out what that
if we
money
gonna
was,
call
and I wasn't
Frank a
cool with
duck,
it. You know what I mean?
we
I
gotta
want
call Shakur a duck too, because it's almost the same situation, right? Now, granted, they fighting for two different things, right? That was a fight for undisputed. This is a fight for interim championship, right? But let's not get into to the tiny details too much, right? For both of these fighters, it would be a big opportunity. Let's put it that way, right? For Shakur, that would be a big historic opportunity and a step up in his career, right? Supposedly, it was going to be the biggest payday of his career too, right? Frank, on the other foot, step up in your career. We're not comparing the exact same two fights, but it is equal in the fact that it's a step up in your career, and it might be the biggest fight of your life and the biggest payday too, as well, right? So both of them turned that down because they didn't like the numbers. Maybe the numbers will be better in the future, maybe not, right? But sort of the same thing happened with Spence Crawford over a few years. It was like I think it was some numbers thrown across and some numbers thrown over here and some numbers thrown over there, and they like, no, that don't suit me, so it's not happening. You know what I'm saying? So I don't call nobody a duck for that. Earl wasn't ducking. Terrence wasn't ducking. That money wasn't right. If anything, PBC or Top Rank was hiding and ducking, but I don't think it was that. It was just I think if anything, the promotional companies might have been trying to be greedy and maximize on all their profits, and they didn't have to make that fight, and they was both making good money without that fight. So if they was gonna make that fight, I think they wanted every penny that they could, and I think that probably got into the way too much, right? More than anything, because I think PBC was willing to make the fight. They just wasn't willing to give up all those things that Earl eventually made them give up, right? They was willing to do it, but for a certain amount and under a certain amount of terms. I don't think it was they just didn't want Earl to fight. But you feel what I'm saying? So this ain't a duck. This ain't really a duck. I don't know about the 50-50 thing. I don't know about the Shakur getting 3 mil, Frank getting 1 mil. It's like we don't, because these dudes sitting around talking in circles and ain't really saying nothing, and just, you know what I'm saying, ain't really being completely clear about the scenario and what's going on. Even Frank in this interview, he went up there and just started talking in circles for the most part. Ain't really said too much. You feel what I'm saying? So my whole thing is, shoot, man. At this point, what the hell was the point of responding, baby boy? Should have just left it as that. Like I took it as like he did his homegirls a service by your man coming on their platform, getting on the interview. But you supposed to do this 2 weeks ago, bro. This late. This dumb late. I ain't even gonna lie. People already made up their mind about how they feel about you for real, for real. So you can come clear it up if you want. But the people who think you a duck, they already thinking you a duck, and it's too late to do something about it. Except for fight Shakur, you could do that. I mean, of course, that's not gonna happen right now, but they're gonna call you a duck up until the point you accept them terms and you go ahead and fight Shakur. But I feel it though. Build your resume, build some things up. Maybe go grab you a belt and you get more of that pot. You feel what I'm saying? Maybe get 2 mil out of the pot if it was a 4 mil pot or something like that. I don't exactly know the case or the cause, but I don't knock a fighter for getting their money, because I want all these fighters, all of them, every single one of them, to get as much money as they can by the end of their career. So if that's not the best move for you for your career, by all means, don't do it, bro, at all. But like I said, I ain't calling Frankie a duck for that. At first, when the news came out, I'm like, oh no, say it ain't so. My man ain't duck sauce, is he? But when it come down to the negotiation, when it come down to the numbers, man, being real, just being real for a career and what you do for a living. If the money ain't right, the money ain't right, bro. Hell no. And then we talking about something that could be detrimental to your health. You talking about taking punches in the head for a living? No sir. You be $1 off. I'm not doing it. You ain't coming. You owe me 9. I mean, you owe me 10. You ain't bringing 9. That's as simple as that. Not for no damn head punches. You're tripping. So that was that on that, man. I'm gonna try to see if I can get it to play one more again, but it ain't really messing with the kid.
So, but on my end, verbally, I agreed. Got a call, asked me what I thought about the fight. It's for the WBC and all that. I agreed to it. I'm like, it's a green light. You know what I mean? So after that, me agreeing to it, I ain't never know what the money was. I ain't know none of that.
You
So
talking about
what happened was,
good?
once everything came about, I figured out what that money was, and I wasn't cool with it. You know what I mean? I wanted
You
more.
see,
So that's why the
that's
fight
all
didn't
it was
fall
about.
through, because it was so. But on my
He
end,
found out
verbally,
what the
I
money
agreed.
was. He
Got a call,
agreed.
asked me what I thought about the fight. It's for the WBC and all that. I agreed to it. I'm like, it's a green light.
There you
You know what
go.
I mean? So after that, me agreeing to it,
So it
I ain't never
seemed
know what the
like,
money was. I
however,
ain't know
I
none
ain't
of
going to
that.
speculate
So
whether
what
it came
happened
out in
was,
the DMs, whether his team went out and did the due diligence and found out how much money was in the pot. They should have known how much money was in the pot when he was talking on the phone, for real, and saying, yeah, 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 oh yeah, this, yeah, that, because he said he agreed to all the terms that Shakur wanted to do, where the venue, the place, the network, all that stuff. He agreed, blah blah blah. Why that question ain't come up? What's up with the pot? What's in there? You feel what I'm saying? What's the totality? And I don't know if it did or it didn't, and they spending and just lied to him, or whatever the case may be. But it could have been something like that, because we know Top Rank. I mean, they throw out flat rates. They ain't even talking no percentages with you like that. Like, so I could see Top Rank offering them a mill. Look, this is his biggest paycheck. Offer him a mill. We maybe make 10, 15 off of it, 20 maybe even. Pay core anywhere between 5 and 10, and just keep the rest type of deal. You feel what I'm saying? Like these, and don't hold me to these exact numbers. I'm just throwing random numbers out there, but like I could see them moving like that. You feel what I'm saying? I could see that being the issue, but I wouldn't say Frankie a duck. That's the overall sentiment. He ain't like the numbers. And I ain't going in there and get punched in my goddamn head for the wrong numbers either. I could dig it. That's that. But go over to y'all see I got a Queens of the Ring YouTube channel. Go check them out. They got the interview with Frankie. There's a full response on there. He even bring up the Shakur thing. I mean the Shakur and Devin thing, and how he may or may not been capping in that. So go get all the details for yourself if you didn't. But this is just how I feel about Frank. I don't personally don't think this is a duck. You know what I'm saying? I've seen some ducking in my lifetime, and I personally don't think this is a duck move right here. But that's it. Not too much of an eventful weekend. Not too many big cars this weekend. Richardson Hitchens did his thing as he should have. Conor Benn made his return. Didn't get the stoppage. Power may or may not look different. We'll see in a few fights. But that is your wrap up for today. It's T from TNH Sports Network, and I'm out. You're now tuned into the TNH Sports Network, the #1 place for unbiased boxing news, fight predictions, fight breakdowns, and film studies. Make sure to hit that like button and that subscribe button on the way out if you want to show love to the channel.